What's up, everybody? We are back here with Betting the NFL. I am Caleb Ochoa, also known as NFL Caleb 22. I am with my man Derek Weatherly, also known as DWeezy. What's going on, man?
What's going on? I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing good. I'm just ready to keep on making these people some money.
Exactly. That's the mindset, and hopefully that's what we're going to end up doing when the season rolls around.
Damn right. And today, like we did last week, we're talking futures, and we're going to be focusing on the AFC East division and their odds of winning the division, their over and under on win totals, and whether they'll make the playoffs or not. So we'll start with that, and we'll start with the Bills, who won the AFC East last year. They went 11-6. Their odds to win the division this year are -190. They are the favorites. They had a quick exit from the playoffs. They lost. Well, no, they did. They won. They beat the Patriots, but then they lost to that great game against the Chiefs. In overtime, all they needed to really do was play some goddamn defense, and they
Hey,
could have
what
got to the
was it?
AFC.
I was going to say, what was it? 13 seconds? That's
Yeah,
what they needed?
yeah,
13 seconds of
yeah.
defense, something like that.
Just a little bit of defense could have
Yeah,
gone to the
just
next
a
round,
little bit.
but they faltered there. But this year, they're hoping to do get farther than that. But we're just talking win loss total for their chances in the regular season. And with that, they lost in the offseason. AJ Klein, Mario Addison, Cole Beasley, Daryl Williams, Levi Wallace, Matt Breida. But they add Von Miller, OJ Howard, Mark Kelly, Jameson Crowder, Roger Saffold, and Duke Johnson. In the draft, they got Kyrie Elam in the first round, James Cook, running back from Georgia in the second round, and um, Terrell Bernard in the third. So I think the Von Miller signing shows that this team does want to go all in. I think they bring a veteran presence, a guy that knows how to win because he's won 2 Super Bowls before. So to me, that signing feels like they're trying to go all in this year. They want to win a Super Bowl, and at least in the regular season, that's going to win them a lot of games because I think they have that mindset. So that's what I think they're going to do this year. But what about you, man? What are your overall thoughts on the Buffalo Bills?
I think there's a strong chance that they'll win the division. Looking at a little bit of their schedule, I had what I was looking at had their number total wins on the season at 11 and a half, and I think that number's sort of it's fair. It's fair to put that right in line where their season could end up. But looking at their schedule, there may actually be an opportunity or a window to potentially jump on something a couple weeks into the season, depending on how the start goes for them. Uh, because they start out the season kicking it off with the Rams, then they got the Titans the following week. Um, week 5 week 4 they have the Ravens. Week 5 they have the Steelers. Those could be two tough games for them. They might split those, winning one or two there. You got Kansas City after that. There's a possibility this team could be 500 or even less at you know going into their bye week at week 7. So
Yeah,
depending on how they
definitely.
come
Because
out
I
of
mean,
the
there's a lot of
gates.
good teams in the AFC, man.
Yeah,
A lot of
and
good
depending on
teams that they have faced. So no, go ahead.
oh yeah, but depending on how strong they come out of the gates those first couple weeks, you might be able to find the Bills at possibly maybe something around a flat 9 or a 9.5 as far as total wins on the season, versus what we're looking at now with 11.5, potentially 11 in that range.
Yeah, I think I got the same win loss total as you at 11 and a half, and I do have them going over. I've been higher on them. I was higher on them last year. I'm gonna be higher on them again because I don't think they really lost. that much. I think they've added what they need, which was a pass rusher. So I feel good about this team, man. I think they're gonna win a lot of games. Um, yes, they do play a pretty hard. Just in general, I think all the AC teams they are scheduled because the just nature of that conference. But they have a great coach. You know, they have Sean McDermott leading the way. Um, I mean, he's only had one losing season in his 5 seasons with the Bills. And I just really don't see them taking a step back. I think they're pretty much going to dominate their division. I don't see anybody really giving them much challenge in the division. So that's why I really like the over 11 and a half. They won 11 games last year. I think they can win one more this year. Obviously, yes, I do make the playoffs, and I'll bet it big. I'll bet it big on the minus 190 to win the division. Because I just don't see anybody else challenging them in the division. So that's um, they are the favorites for the reason. So I'll put big money on that bet.
Yeah, I definitely would have to lean to the over myself. As I mentioned, this may be a team where you could potentially find a window to get the number lower if they come out a little sluggish or lose even if they only lose one of those first two games. You may see some action or movement or dip in that number. But and if they don't, it's likely, that number won't change at all and it'll be the exact same number we're looking at right now. Um Division odds, like you said, what I was looking at had it slightly over minus 200, but still, you're talking about big odds. I don't think there's anybody that can challenge them in the division as far as the division title. Um, there's a strong chance that they could easily win four, if not five, of their division games on the schedule. I think New England's only real possibility is stealing a win or two from them. But looking at the other teams, I know a lot of people are high on Miami, but uh, matched up against a team like the Bills, I don't think Miami has much to offer. And so you start looking at that schedule, like I said, I mentioned, them potentially starting sluggish. Well, even if they lose to the Rams and Titans, if they beat the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Steelers, that's 3-2. Like I said, even if they lose to the Chiefs, that's 3-3. You only need nine more wins on the season. Yes, only 11 games, but scrolling more, a little further down, they got the Vikings, the Jets. That I see being a fairly easy victory for them. They got the Lions on their schedule still. You know, um, they got the Bears. That's in my opinion, a easy win for a team like the Bills, or a win or a game they should win. So yeah, I definitely
Yeah,
think that over comes into play when you start looking at their schedule and just the team that they have. They lost a few role players, but they were able to replace those pieces. They've invested in their core pieces. They brought in a true talent like Von Miller, which does show that this team seems to be dedicated on going after a Super Bowl and nothing less.
yeah, I totally agree with you, man. And overall, they still got Josh Allen at quarterback, which is one of the top quarterbacks in the league right now. So you got him. I mean, I feel you got a good shot to win a lot of games. That's why I like the over on this one. So,
And something I
uh,
wanted to point out,
yeah,
what the book I was looking at, they're actually first in the conference odds for the AFC at plus 400 to win the
mm-hmm,
conference, which says a lot about the Bills, given, as you mentioned earlier, there are a lot of strong teams in the AFC.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So we both liking the Bills to get that over and win the division. But next, we will talk about a team that came in third last season with a record of 9-8 and missed the playoffs, but did a lot of improvements this off season and were very busy. That is the Miami Dolphins. Um, they lost lineman Jesse Davis, receiver Matt Collins, Devontae Parker, just cornerback Joseph Coleman. They lost their head coach Ryan. Well, they didn't lose him; they fired him, obviously. Ryan Flores and quarterback Jacoby Brissett. But they went heavy in free agency. They got Tyreek Hill. They traded for him. They got Connor Williams, Cedric Wilson, Chase Edmonds, Terron Armstead, Raheem Mostert, and their new head coach Mike McDaniel. Um, so they made and in the draft they got they didn't have first round picks, so they really wanted the third. Their top pick was third round pick and Channing Tindall, a linebacker from Georgia. But yeah, they made a lot of moves this offseason. They're trying to get weapons around Tua to really know whether he is the guy to lead this team going forward. So he's got a lot of weapons around him. The offense should improve. Mike McDaniel's taken that system he learned from Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco that was very productive for them. So I'm liking this team, man. But what are your thoughts?
I'm not as big on the Dolphins as I think some might be. I think I agree with the moves they made, with some of the moves they made, like acquiring Tyreek Hill, some of the other offensive moves that they've gone about. My only problem with that scenario is kind of like you said, there's still this indecisiveness behind is Tua the guy. Well, you kind of gave up your future to put yourself in the situation that you're in now. So it's more or less a situation where you kind of need Tua to be the guy. But me personally, I think they could. It's a possibility that they come in on the underside of their total wins. I think a lot of the improvement that we saw in Miami had to do with Brian Flores there and his I don't want to necessarily say coaching, but it seemed like when Brian Flores came in, he turned around that locker room fairly well. He
Yeah,
commanded the
that's more
locker
of the
room.
culture he set.
Yeah, those are big things. And so a new coach coming in, not to say that he might try and maintain those exact same standards, but that's something this coaching staff is going to have to do.
Yeah,
And I
and
think
I think that's the biggest thing with this team is whether the coach can really, you got all these pieces, but I mean, you got to make them go. And
exactly.
he's a rookie head coach. Like he does not have a lot of experience. Like he had
And,
1 year experience as offensive coordinator, no experience head coach. So I mean, this guy's just learning on the job right now. So
and
that
yes,
that
and that's definitely another factor. And not to say that, the accumulation of talent that they have, that the coaching staff will turn out to be bad. But these things being said, I'm more likely to lean to the under 8.5 and saying that they have a bad season, even if next year they come in and potentially go over their game total, whatever it may be, by a few games. I'm not saying that this is necessarily a bad team. I'm saying I think they're probably going to have a bad season.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Bet. I feel the opposite. Of course, I mean, sometimes, I mean, it's gambling. Sometimes you gotta take chance. You win some, you lose some, but you gotta take chances. That's how you win big. So their chances at winning the division are at plus 400, which ties them with the Patriots. Um, I don't really have. I'm not going to take any flyer on them. I'm going to say they really have no chance of winning the division, but I
And
can see
I
them
I
win.
really agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't. You would you might see them second on the standings as far as division odds, but I don't think there's really any
yeah.
value
Yeah,
behind
don't
that.
even. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't even bet that. Don't even worry. And don't even put no money on
I
that.
would be more inclined to put a flyer on New England to win the division than I
Yeah,
would a
until
Miami
next.
Dolphins team.
But yeah, so I can feel that they can win 9 games. I think there's too much talent on this team right now to not win 9 games. For me personally, and I do think they make the playoffs. Because I mean they did it with this team last year. They were like 1 game out or something like that. They won 9 games. They had a winning season. And I think they can win. Do that same, get at least 9 game to that 9 game point. With the amount of talent they brought on. So if they can just do that, you can win that bet at the over. So that's why I'm predicting. But you have the under, and yeah, we both think no chance to win division. So save your money. Do not bet on that. All right, we'll get to how you mentioned the New England Patriots. They were 10-7 last year, second in the AFC East, and they did make the playoffs. They lost to the Buffalo Bills in the first round. They had a lot of losses, man. Some significant losses. Um, Lineman Shaq Mason, cornerback J.C. Jackson, linebacker Jamie Collins, Dante Hightower, Brandon Bolden, Kyle Van Noy, Chase Winovich, and Ted Karras. They only added Jabril Peppers, Devontae Parker, Tyke Montgomery, Terrence Mitchell, Malcolm Butler's back, and linebacker Mac Wilson. And they had a weird kind of draft that a lot of the experts, whether you trust the experts or not, did not like their draft picks that they made. They went with first round pick Cole Strange of some line, Chattanooga. They went with receiver Tyquan Thornton from Baylor. They cornered, and in the third round they got Marcus Jones from Houston. So I mean, they got best coach in the game, Bill Belichick. All of his accomplishments speak for himself. So you still got him, but I think they just lost a lot of players, and I just didn't think they had that much of a talented team to begin with. So I'm not very high on them. But what do you think about the Patriots?
Yeah, like I said, I think this is a team you could potentially put a flyer on for the division winner. Where I was looking, they had them almost plus 600, coming in slightly under that. But I think last year this was a team that they overperformed by many people's expectations. You know, I'm pretty sure everybody remembers the Rams clip of their war room when the Patriots made their first round selection, like you said, going with the guard out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Um, but that kind of just that fits in with the Patriots sort of philosophy. They had somebody that they were interested in, that they wanted, and
Mm-hmm.
they clearly got him. They clearly took him. That's fair to say. Um, but yeah, I think at 8.5, I think that that's a number that they could cover. Where I was looking, they had it minus 125 to the over, minus 105 to the under. I think the over is the way to go there. As I said, a potential division winner, dark horse. Um, you get to looking at the schedule, and they're another team where they could potentially win 4 out of 6 of their division games by sweeping basically non-Bills matchups. Uh, so even if they don't win a single game against the Bills, you're talking about 4 wins on the schedule already. They play the Lions. Um, I'm just taking a little peek through their schedule. The Raiders, that could be a winnable game. They play my Panthers, which unfortunately could be a winnable game depending on how the season's going. Um, you could easily, you only need what, 5 wins if they end up sweeping the Jets and the Dolphins in the season. Um, so yeah, that 8.5 I think is definitely a number to go to attack the over at, and that's what I'm gonna be doing. I actually do like their odds on the to make the playoff market, which includes things like wild card as long as they get there. Uh plus 135. I could easily see New England being the wild card, or like I said, if you do take that flyer approach on the division winner odds, it wouldn't shock me as much as looking at some of these other divisions where you're potentially talking about the third place team and the odds winning the division.
All right. Yeah, I feel differently. Obviously, we know they're disagreement with us. I think they just lost too much, man. I just don't think they're a very talented team. I don't think they have any talent on this team. Especially you got a quarterback that they don't trust, um, and Mac Jones in his second year. You lost both your guards. You didn't really replace them, and Mac Jones is a guy that because he's not a mobile guy, he's gonna need time to get it to receivers. So I don't like that. I don't like the fact that they don't have really great receivers to begin with. They didn't really get great receivers to replace anybody. So I don't like their offense. Their defense is always going to be solid. You got Bill Belichick coaching, but I just don't think they scored a lot too many points, and they're not going to win enough games to hit that 8.5. Um, so I got the under. I got the under 8.5. I don't think they'll make the playoffs. Got them third in the AFC East, and yeah, I don't really. You'll take the flyer. I will not be taking that flyer on them to win the division. I think the Bills will dominate them. I think the Dolphins even every year. It doesn't matter. Before when they had Brady, the Dolphins always gave them a tough time. So I just don't see them win those games. Um, yeah, so I don't like this New England Patriots team at all, to really do anything this season, and that's why I like the under here. But you can go with me or Derek, um, but that's just how I feel. Um, yeah, so we're different on that, but finally we have the bottom feeder of this division, Jets. They come in fourth in the AFC last year, 4-13. Obviously, they missed the playoffs. And their losses came in receiver Jameson Crowder, tight end Ryan Griffin, guard Laurent Duvernay Tardif, safety Marcus May, lineman Morgan Moses, linebacker Blake Shelton, Blake Cashman. Um, but they added safety Jordan Whitehead, offensive tackle Tomlinson, cornerback DJ Reed, two tight ends CJ Uzoma and Tyler Conklin, and defensive lineman Solomon Thomas. In the draft, they grabbed two first-round picks: Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, receiver; linebacker Jermaine Johnson from Cincinnati; second-round pick running back Brees Hall from Iowa State; and tight end Jeremy Rackert from Ohio State. So yeah, they both Robert Sala and Zach Wilson in the rookie year last year was pretty rough. It's pretty rough. They're definitely looking to take some steps forward in their progression this season. But yeah, think about how they're going to do this season, Derek.
Honestly, it's the Jets. Can anybody ever say that they expect to have that? We expect the Jets to have a good season? No, because you're locked up in a crazy hospital somewhere if you're saying stuff like that. Um, clearly you see the number is at 6. Well, at least where I was looking, it
You
was a
got,
flat
I got
6.
that 5.5.
Oh wow! Now, yeah, that 5.5.
Yeah.
I would definitely be more interested in looking at it over there. But what I saw was a flat 6, minus 115 both ways. I would just stay away from that completely. Um, because this is the type of team where I don't have their schedule in front of me at the moment, but last 2 games of the season, they could easily see non-starters out of the opposing matchup, or depending on how things play out as far as that goes, they could easily steal a win or two through something like that. Um, you know, that that number being that low, just like I said, I would be more inclined to take the under, but the Jets being the Jets, I'd stay away from that completely, as best possible. if you twisted my arm, I'd still have to take the under because I can't say the Jets go over on anything related to a win total.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be optimistic about the Jets. Not saying they're gonna have a great season, but at 5.5, I could see taking the over. I mean, last week I talked about Trevor Lawrence and taking a step in his second year. So I can't really differ from that and change up and not say that about Zach Wilson. Like he's in his second year, he can make a step forward. He can, I mean, like talked about last week, Joe Burrow made a step in his second year. Zach Wilson can do the same thing, and that's just all what you want to bet on. And I'm, hell, I'll take the risk. I'll go out there on a limb and I'll say I'll take that little step. I'm not saying he'll go into the Super Bowl or anything, but I can see them being better, and that's why I like the over in this. And their chances at winning the division are plus 1,800, and at those long odds, I mean, I can see just making a small bet. Not saying it's going to happen, but if you do, you're going to win big. And I'm a risk taker. I like taking some risk. I'm willing to throw low money on that. Uh, I'm okay with that because I mean, I didn't. It's not like I would have put huge money on Joe Burrow to take the Bengals to the Super Bowl or anything. If I had, I would have won a lot of money. So if I can make that bet on the Jets to win the division, that's a risk we're taking from, at least for me, that I would be willing to do. But yeah,
Well, honestly, I mean, you could approach that from a certain angle where, all right, if you're playing the Bills to win the division odds, of course you're paying for the juice, but basically you sprinkle a little bit on something like the Jets, where basically whatever you win off the Bills more than covers what you bet on the Jets. I mean, as far as your winnings, you're still talking about a plus day. I mean, it may be the most ever slightest hedge play out there, but it's very similar to what I was potentially talking about with New England. The odds aren't as good, but even if I was to put 2-3 units down on something like the Bills and then come in and put half a unit down on New England, if New England happens to win, as long as the numbers work right, you can still get that value. Where regardless of who, as long as one of those two teams win the division, you're walking away with a profit.
yeah, and like I said, it all comes back to Zach Wilson, whether he's going to make a step in his progression as a quarterback. I think they made a good effort to surround him with some good weapons, like with Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall. Um, that should help. But it really all depends on him. That's why I like him at least to get over that 5.5 that 5.5 mark. I would make that bet, but you have him with the under the 6,
Well,
and
yeah,
obviously,
it being that flat 6 and the push being on the board like that, I'd
yeah,
definitely lean more to the under. If I had that 5.5, the over would definitely be more enticing because at that 6 you're talking about a win and not a push. With me looking at that 6, more or less the over is saying like, yeah, we'll get a push at 6, but we're basically saying we see them winning 7 games, and I can't say I see the Jets winning 7 games.
yeah. I feel you on that. I think the number is right at 6, but if you're a risk taker like me, then go ahead, put a little money on them to win at 1,800. I mean, you go if it actually does happen, you're gonna win a good amount of money there. So might as well. At least that's my philosophy on those type of bets. Um, all right, that wraps up our AFC East talk. But I wanted to ask you. We were talking about a little bit throughout this episode. You had your lines. I had a little bit different lines, and I want to ask you, how do you what is the best? Like, how do you find your best? How do you find your lines? What are the best sites to go to? Yeah, what do you like? How do you even determine what the best line is for you? Um, and yeah, just take me through the process of how you go through sports because that's all I do. Like I just go to the casino, I make my bets. You're not obviously a lot of people aren't in Vegas like I am, but how do you? What is your whole process of making a bet and finding the different
Well,
lines and all that?
there is a little bit of I want to say evaluating because when you can go to a variety of different sites. I don't think it matters specifically which sites you're going to. Now you may find one site may more frequently have slightly better odds for one sport or one type of venue than another sports betting site. So that may be something, during the basketball season, you use site A, and during the football season, you use site B because, the odds are better in your favor. You like more what you see. Uh, Me personally, I do try and gather a little information, not from the sports book where, you hear a lot of people try and label themselves as pro gamblers and stuff like that. I don't focus on that as much as more as the information they're putting out. And if I come across a few people or a source of something that I find reliable, I might compare that a little bit to what I'm seeing from whatever sports book I do have in front of me. Uh, for me personally, a part of sports gambling, I may tend to stay away from some of the larger juice and situations, but that's where you sort of start getting into that when you can find good value plays, and even underdog plays. You lose a couple of bets where you were playing the favorite with some big juice. You're trying to make up a big differential in some cases, whereas you find a couple good value plays where either it was the favorite but less juice, or even the underdog. You can go 500 and still come out with half a unit, three-quarter unit of profit. You hit on a good underdog or something, you could finish 500 on the day and still make a unit or two. So in some instance, as far as the process, like I said, I think I would, you know, a little evaluate, not just accepting the number I'm given. I think something that a lot of people underestimate is if you don't like where the number's at, stay away from it. Don't play it. Like that's a big factor. Um, you know, as I was saying with the Jets win total, it being at 6, I definitely would stay off and over.
Yeah,
Wouldn't touch it. Being at a 5.5, that conversation comes a little more fluid and a little more enticing. And so, yes, you're talking about a sliver of a difference, but it potentially changes your approach to
yeah.
the outcome,
That
whether
little
it be
slug can mean a lot
yeah,
in
whether
the,
it
in the
be for
long.
a single game or for an entire season. It's more or less about how you're handicapping it. And so, like I said earlier, I don't think the Jets could get 7 wins. So I'm not going to be looking at that over, even though it's a flat 6, or but 5.5, it's really a different story. Um, so yeah, I think there is some evaluation. I do think a safe bet is always not betting if you don't like the number, you don't like where the juice is at. Because me personally, if we're talking about team sports like non boxing or MMA, or combat sports or racing, you get the odds are a little different there. As far as what you might see on a day-to-day basis or more frequently, you know, it's hard to say, I'd never touch anything over minus 150 or minus 175 and then be like, oh yeah, that boxer that's minus 400, he's going to be the one that wins. Like things don't always translate, word for word from one sport
Mhm.
to another. But with your typical sports like basketball, football, and your more typical odds, traditionally I'm going to stay away from, anything around minus 200. I think there are better ways of finding value out of those lines, whether it be like a same game parlay or a two-leg parlay, uh, where even if you lose on that, small parlay, if you're able to get, anywhere from like minus 120 to an actual plus number on just that, two-leg parlay, it allows you don't have to bet as much. So even on the potential that you lose, you're not losing as much. And you get back into that conversation about walking away on a positive note, even if you only finish 500, or maybe even have a losing record, 2-3, and still walk away with a slim profit. A profit is always a profit, and that's winning in this business.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause I just want to know personally, because I've never bet online before. I've always done it mine through the casino. I just have to go. I either get the sheet it gives you all their odds from whatever local sports book they get, or if I go off the board or something like that. So yeah, it's good to know because most people don't live in Las Vegas. So I definitely think hopefully that helps them out, helps them win some money. 'Cause that's all we're trying to do, trying to win y'all some money. But that's our show. You can tell them where they can find me, man.
Yeah, y'all can reach me at Backyard Action Media here on YouTube. You can also reach out on Twitter at DWeatherly90, like it says on the screen. Um, and you can also catch me live Wednesdays. I do the Lunch Money Bets segment on the Lunch Break Hot Takes Wednesday show. So yeah, you can reach me at all those platforms, and you can definitely leave comments here, and I'll be whether it be specifically for me or for Caleb, I'll be happy to answer, or one of us will definitely be happy to get back at you.
Definitely. All right, you can find me at NFLKL22 on Instagram and Twitter. Find me here on the Let's Get Ready Network channel. As well, you can find my articles, all the information, all the odds that I was talking about on our the Let's Get Ready Network.com. I have my article coming up and along with this video. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.